Tonight, for the first time in years, housing assessments went down in 2023 here in Prince George. Plus, it's been 6 months since the province signed a memorandum of understanding with the city regarding homelessness and encampments. We check in on how things are going. And people typically spend quite a lot of money during the holiday season. We have tips on how to save as we begin the new year. Good evening, I'm Eddie Huband and welcome to CKPG News. Our top story tonight takes us to the unhoused community. Half a year has passed since Premier David Eby came to Prince George and inked a memorandum of understanding with the city in a bid to address homelessness and encampments. So what's happened in the interim? Cheryl Jan is here to tell us.
Our memorandum of understanding also includes a shared commitment to preventing encampments from taking hold in the first place, by ensuring people can get the supports and housing they need when and where they need it.
That was 6 months ago when Premier David Eby made the trip to Prince George to launch a pilot program with the city in a bid to reduce homelessness and encampments.
We do play a supportive role only for the transitional housing and for the permanent supportive housing. So it is defined by the community charter because this is our limit of our responsibility. And so we are going to, provide when the transitional housing comes for the garbage pickups, water, things in that nature.
Since the MOU was signed, BC Housing has snapped up a number of downtown hotels, such as the North Star Inn. But advocate Philip Fredrickson says little else has been provided by way of supports.
We've actually had services taken away. So we had 6 porta potties for the last couple months down here, and they were removed on December 21st, right before the long weekend of Christmas. We thought they would be coming back after Christmas. It's January 5th today, and still no, absolutely no.
While BC Housing is working towards supportive housing, the local advocacy group has been busy building temporary shelters, despite the city moving in with stop work and do not occupy orders.
Is the building structurally safe? Is the distance between each building? It's okay for fire spreading, rating, things like in that nature. We need to do that, and also by putting a no occupancy, so therefore the city will limit the city, which is the citizen, some liability if something bad happens.
In the meantime, Fredrickson and crew have no interest in providing housing, though there is a move afoot on another front.
We have started a campaign called End Homelessness Canada. You can find us on Facebook or EHCM, and that's our movement. So you can jump on board and get involved, and hopefully we can find a solution to this, because it's become very clear that the 3 tiers of government can't pull themselves together to solve this problem.
Also, BC municipalities are fighting Bill 45, which mimics a court ruling in Prince George, forcing municipalities seeking an injunction to remove an encampment to provide evidence that there is reasonably available shelter space. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
A group has been formed to discuss the ongoing energy transition in BC and Canada, and the public is invited to attend, with the first meeting scheduled for next Tuesday. Adam Burles has the story.
A new energy transition group in Prince George has been formed with individuals from UMBC and the Prince George Electric Vehicle Association. Doug Beckett from the PGEVA explains why the group was formed.
I was approached by some people at the university asking if the Prince George Electric Vehicle Association would like to team up with them and talk with broader topics of the energy transition. So we formed the Energy Transition Group.
Topics discussed at meetings will include much more than just electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles are still part of the interest and equation, but we want to talk about other technologies, other new products happening, energy efficiencies that are happening.
With an increase in demand for electric vehicles, BC's energy transition is going to include an increase in demand for electricity.
The greatest increase in demand on electricity, they show requiring maybe another 40,000 gigawatts of electricity in 20 years. That's almost a doubling of the electricity.
The group will have a number of different expert guests to talk about different topics.
We have got Energy, a local solar installation company, presenting on how solar might contribute to the energy transition. We have been in discussion with the Peace Energy Cooperative up in Dawson Creek to talk about community energy.
The first meeting of the group will take place on Tuesday, January 9th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. at UMBC in room 5-518, with a further 2 meetings scheduled for February 13th and March 12th. Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Keep an eye on your mailboxes because your property assessments will begin showing up. On average, property assessments went down 3% in north central BC. Here's Cheryl Jan once again to tell us what it means.
Based on property market values as of July of last year, North Central BC has seen value fluctuations of between -10% and +10%, depending on the community.
Yeah, there's some things that happen in the market that certainly have impacts on what somebody is willing to pay for property or what somebody is willing to sell their property for. There's always going to be fluctuations in the market, and right now we seem to see a bit of a softening in the market. Higher interest rates certainly have a bit of a role to play in that, so we'll continue to see how those fluctuations play out over the next year.
Prince George saw the average value decrease of 3%, with average house prices dropping from $450,000 to $438,000. Quesnel stayed static, while Mackenzie saw an 8% hike in values. Vanderhoof saw a modest decrease of 2%. There is a very loose relationship between property assessments and property taxes, which won't be hashed out by council until later this month. So what is the correlation?
Let's say you have only 2 houses in your municipality. One is worth 3 times more than the other. When the tax bill comes around for what the city needs, they're going to collect 3/4 of the money they need from the one house and 1/4 of the money from the other house. It's a ratio thing. So if both houses decrease 3% in value, the city is still going to collect 3/4 of the money from the one house and 1/4 of the money from the other house.
The city needs a finite amount of money to keep things running. Last year, that number was just over $160 million. So what happens if the overall assessed value drops by 3%?
So the tax rate is something that is just a calculation. So the city finds out how much money they need to run, maybe it's $160 million, and then we get an assessed value of X billion through all of our residential and industrial and commercial properties. We actually just do the math to work backwards to form a tax rate per thousand to collect the amount of tax that the city needs.
98% of property owners accept their property assessments, but if you are in the 2%, what are your options?
Yeah, I would encourage anyone to have a look at our website. We have lots of information. If there's still questions or concerns around the assessment, I would encourage them to call us. We have appraisers ready and willing to talk on the phone and help customers work kind of through those questions, those concerns. And then, of course, if there's still concern with the assessment, the appeal deadline is January 31st.
The total number of BC properties on the 2024 assessment roll is just over 2 million properties, an increase of 1% over 2023. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
And to follow up now about last year's housing assessments in Prince George and throughout the province, Cheryl Jan joins us now. So Cheryl, we just saw a lot of facts, a lot of figures in that story, but can we dive a little bit deeper into some of the numbers here?
Yeah, there are a lot of numbers, so I'm going to have to refer to my notes here. I did not know, a little known fact, that the North Central BC region of the BC Assessment Authority covers 80% of the province. And so $1.72 billion in updated assessments comes from new construction, subdivisions, and rezoning. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is quite a lot. Now, other than what you mentioned in your story, are there any other notables?
Yeah, you bet. For some reason, McBride saw a modest increase in property values, about 2%. Haida Gwaii, for some reason, they saw property values increase by 22%. Tumbler Ridge, whopping 19% increase. And Wells, and this one I'm going to speculate wildly, they saw an increase in property values of 6%. I am going to attribute that to the new gold mine that's going in there that will probably drive property prices up.
Right, yeah. Right. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Now, just in case if people are wondering if you maybe have a problem with your housing assessment, is there anything that people can do?
Absolutely, and they need to get on it quickly. If you are not sure about the assessment and you want to have them take a look at it again, go to their website. You click on that one. You can actually go in and say, hey, I think my assessment's wrong. However, if you want to take it to a higher level of adjudication, that has to be done by the end of this month.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to get on it very quickly. Cheryl Jan, thank you very much for joining us.
Very welcome.
And the RCMP's numbers for calls for service are in for New Year's Eve and 2023 as a whole. New Year's Eve was calmer than usual this year, with 92 recorded calls to the RCMP, this down from 110 on New Year's Eve a year ago. And the calls were not exactly about what you would expect, mainly relating to noise complaints and intoxication. RCMP say New Year's Eve historically is quite erratic, so there's no real data to suggest why this year was lower than before. As for the entire year, RCMP attended just over 45,000 calls in 2023, with 1,000 less than in 2022. While a drop in calls could mean there's less crime overall, the RCMP want to be open about all possibilities and know there's more work to be done in 2024.
Yes, it sounds very good. It means our police officers are doing some great work, but it also could mean that perhaps people have stopped calling in certain types of crimes. So we definitely want to make sure that the public knows that they are still welcome and encouraged to call in for any type of crime or fraud, or there's a lot of things that we'll be focusing on this year to remind people that they can and should still be contacting the police for anything that seems suspicious in their neighborhood or suspicious activity that they're noting.
Now that we're out of the Christmas season, many are being hit with the harsh reality of credit card payments coming in. If you find yourself struggling with debt or repayments, Tommy Osborne brings us some tips on how to save in the new year.
January rings in the new year, but for some, it also comes with the unfortunate task of paying off a hefty credit card bill from all the holiday spending in December. It's no secret that payments can quickly rack up, but if you find yourself struggling, there are several things you can do to help manage the costs.
One thing I like to do in my household is what's called a no-spend January. So you cut out those daily trips to the coffee shop, try to cut out any kind of dining expenses that you have, going out for dinner. Try to cut out online shopping, those kind of things. At the end of the day, it comes down to cutting out those impulsive expenses that when you add them together, they can really add up.
If you're in serious trouble, larger actions like getting a part-time job or selling some unnecessary household items could be a possibility too. But as far as small ways to save big, Beverly says it's always a good idea to check in on expenses we may not even really think about.
For example, if you are subscribed to multiple different streaming services, maybe take a look at which one you're using the most and try to cut out the other ones and bring it just down to one, or better yet, get rid of them all. Same can be said for your home internet plan, your TV, your home phone. If possible, take a look at what you're spending on all of that stuff. See if you can maybe bundle it to make it a little bit cheaper.
We got the advice from the pros, but what are the Prince George shoppers doing to save a couple of bucks? Well, a lot of it comes down to just making some small changes that can quickly add up.
Just cut back and just shop around the outside row of the supermarket, more basics like, potatoes, spaghetti, macaroni, and all that stuff. And instead of all these fancy drinks and fancy food,
Get rid of a lot of the stuff in my house that I don't need. I have a lot of materials, sewing materials. Decide what you need, and if you haven't used it in a year, you don't need it.
While we may all be in different financial situations after holiday spending, being a bit more frugal in January is sure to help you recover and get some of that money back. If you're really struggling though, help is out there through things like insolvency firms, where experts will be able to help get you back on track. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
The lowest gas price in Prince George is currently sitting at $1.44.9 a liter at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Quesnel at $1.38.9 a liter. Alberta currently has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.22.1 a liter, while BC has an average price of $1.59.6 a liter.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Prince George Cougars hit the ice tonight in Wenatchee for Game 2 of a 5-game road trip. Prince George enters their first game of the new year with a 26-10-0-0 record, leading the BC Division and the Western Conference. The Cats have battled against the Wild 3 times so far this year, falling to them once on October 7th. Riley Heidt, he'll look to continue his streak tonight. The Saskatoon native has points in 5 consecutive games, 68 total points in the season. The Cats are currently coming off a big win against the Kamloops Blazers, beating them 4-1 with the help of a stellar performance from goaltender Ty Young, who made 33 saves in that one. And they'll follow up tonight's game, as you can see, with a trip down to Seattle, Portland, and Everett. And it was a big day for two Cougars players. Riley Height was named WHL Player of the Month for December, and Tarek Parasak received Rookie of the Month for December as well. We'll start with Height. The 5'11" center registered 7 multi-point performances during the past month, one of which was a 5-assist effort during their December 15th win against Wenatchee, who they are playing tonight. Height leads the entire dub in scoring. His 48 assists are good for second, and his 21 power play assists also takes top spot in the league. Parasak, meanwhile, is not unfamiliar with Rookie of the Month, previously receiving it for September and October. The 17-year-old recorded 16 points and a plus 13 rating in 11 games during December. He currently leads the WHL rookie scoring race with 54 points in 36 games, and he sits 18 points ahead of the rest of the pack. Bit of a mouthful there, but we'll move over to our other local hockey team. Spruce Kings' Kazumo Sasaki has made his way back from Budapest, Hungary from the IIHF U20 Division I World Championships. Number 26 had an eventful few weeks while away from Prince George, scoring a goal during his time with Team Japan. The Kings player was missed during his time away, but it took no time at all for him to bring a little spark back to the team. Sasaki played hero this past Saturday against West Kelowna, scoring the overtime winner to give the Kings a big 4-3 win. Sasaki says that learning new things in Budapest carried over to Prince George, which is something he was focusing on.
It helped me a lot for sure. Changing my environment or changing my team for a little bit. It's 100% good for me. And then more than that, just bring that energy back to this team, that was my kind of role too. So it was good to be able to bring back that good energy and help out my team here.
The TSX went down 54 points to close at 20,819. The Dow Jones went down 285 points to close at 37,430. And Canfor went up 4 cents to close at $17.54.
Good evening again, everyone. We're looking at some flurries moving back in around the midnight hour tonight, or at least overnight tonight, and into the morning a little unsettled, and then after that a bit of a break in between systems. But this is a look back at the day today. Some lighter snow to start the day, and then just fairly cloudy for most of the region through the afternoon hours. This system is the next front that is coming our way, and that is going to bring actually quite a bit of precipitation in many areas. Futurecast shows heavier rain showers along the coast, and then as it pushes inland, of course, we're going to get that snow, but likely flurries tonight, a little bit into the morning, maybe a couple of centimeters here and there. And then the next chance, or as that system intensifies, it'll be really Friday later into the day, or particularly Friday night, that we see a good chance of snow coming back our way. So as we move into the weekend as well, temperatures cooling down. We do have some Arctic air that's going to settle into the province next week. But again, this weekend will be a bit chilly, or at least chillier than it has been, that's for sure. -9 for Fort St. John for the day tomorrow. So that's a bit cooler, of course, some snow in the mix. Prince George, we're looking at a couple of centimeters accumulating overnight into the early morning, and then a break through the afternoon, some clearing. We'll get some sunshine in there, and our temperature is still quite mild as well, though a little bit cooler tonight with a wind chill factor. 7 in Kamloops, 3 in Kelowna. We do have precipitation down through the southern half of the province as well. Of course, lots of rain showers along the south coast. 3 degrees in Quesnel. McBride will sit around the same temperature range, and again, mixed precipitation, so flurries, rain showers, just temperatures, or the freezing level is still up there a little bit, so not a lot in terms of accumulation, but certainly some instability. 3 degrees Vanderhoof, 0 in Burns Lake, and looking at sun cloud mix by your afternoon. The country looks pretty good, actually. A wet one along the west coast, but in through parts of Alberta, the prairies as well. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures are cooling down, though. -6 Winnipeg. Today, I think it was around -8. -2 in Montreal and Toronto. So much cooler further east. And again, anticipating some snow in Montreal, so pretty unsettled for the most part. Flurries and then sun into our weekend. So Again, with that next frontal system coming our way, we'll get the flurries and the chances of snow, and then we're looking at a nice clearing trend, or at least drying out again for the later part of the weekend. But again, it will be a little bit cooler. So here are the temperatures. You can see Sunday's dry but cool in Burns Lake. -7 is the daytime high, and again, overnight lows cooling down into the double digits as well. A little bit of snow tonight, -9, some sunny sky tomorrow, and then the next leg of that system coming through on Friday. Mackenzie, -3 tonight, snow at times expected, and then it sort of tapers off through the morning hours, a little bit unsettled to start. You'll get some sunny breaks in there, and then Friday is the next sort of intense system that moves in. 5 to 10 centimeters, temperatures only up to about -11 on Sunday, so it'll be dry but very cold by the end of the weekend. -4 in McBride tonight, where overnight lows a little bit cooler with the wind chill. 2 degrees tomorrow, and looking at temperatures kind of going down from there over the next few days. Lots of sunshine on Sunday, but quite chilly at -6. Quesnel will see overnight snow, -2, a little bit into the morning, or some rain and snow mixed through parts of the day tomorrow and Friday. Dry on Saturday, although a little bit cooler, and the same sort of pattern for us. So -3 tonight. We're looking at a chance of flurries overnight tonight into the morning, clearing in the afternoon, snow coming back on Friday, dry but cooler for the weekend.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
Most events aren't able to run without the help of volunteers, obviously, and the Parabiathlon World Championships and ParaNordic World Cup Finals are no different. Caitlin Pobersnick has more now on how important volunteers are for the Caledonia Nordic Ski Club in these coming months.
It's not quite a scramble to find volunteers yet, but there is a need for some donated hours when it comes to the Parabiathlon World Championships and ParaNordic World Cup Finals coming to Prince George in March.
I think in 2019 we had around 300 volunteers. We're at, I think, just around 110 registered. Now, I think a lot of the competition officials have yet to kind of put their names in, but yeah, so I think we'd still like to get into that 300 level. So I know it's been Christmas and holidays times and things like that, but now that we're into January, it'd be really great for people to register, and you can go to our website, caledoniacompetitions.com, and you can click on sign up, and it'll bring you right to the volunteer registration page, and it literally takes 3 minutes to sign up.
Even though these are outdoor events, there are plenty of volunteer opportunities in an indoor setting.
There's both the outdoor roles, like we have on the competition, the field of play, as well as indoor roles. So whether it's in the race office or helping out with the awards and ceremonies, or the food tent or things like that. Like there's indoor roles as well. So yeah, everybody can kind of find their kind of what they're most suited towards.
Volunteers also get to leave with a little bit of gear.
You know, the nice thing is you get the volunteer jacket, which I'm wearing, and then the volunteer kit includes the nice toque with the Dreamcatcher motif, as well as the buff, and so yeah, we'll definitely take care of you. We'll feed you each day that you volunteer, and you get to enjoy these amazing world events.
Pedersen says the earlier you register to volunteer, the easier it is to get the sizing for your personal attire. Caitlin Pobersnick, CKPG News.
Big wins, inaugural seasons, and lots happening to start off 2024, including a big shot from one Caitlin Clark. Let's have a look on tonight's CKP3.
Let's kick things off with history being made.
Tees it up. Takes it near side. Patience, and Matchmeyer reads it. Close the book. She's good. One-on-one with Poulin. Of course, there's two.
The PWHL had its inaugural games to start the year off right, and with that comes a lot of firsts. One of which, the first penalty shot, which was denied by Ottawa's netminder, Mashmeyer. Next, let's have a look at Grambling's massive defeat.
Uses the and the ball goes out.
They may hold it with the score being 159-18.
A win of over 100 points doesn't happen very often, but the Tigers did it cleanly, beating CBS 159-18.
Good close as they go in.
Finally, Caitlin Clark does what Caitlin Clark does.
Win! She does it!
A step back three would be impressive enough, but a step back three-pointer from the logo to win the game just seems a bit too crazy now, doesn't it? Clark gets Iowa the 76-73 victory and making it her 4th straight game with 35 points or more, and absolutely takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Prince George's first New Year's baby is a girl. Northern Health announced that the first baby in 2024 in the north was born right here in Prince George. Baby Holland was born at the University Hospital of Northern BC on January 1st, 1:04 a.m. to mom and dad Amy and Jaden Jansen of Burns Lake, weighing in at 6 pounds 8 ounces. Baby Holland is her parents' first child, and to be born on New Year's Day was quite a surprise.
When you're in the moment it happens, it was quite a special moment that we'll remember forever, that's for sure. She was actually supposed to be due about 2 weeks after on January 13th, but there was a couple of things that were going on with the pregnancy, so they induced me, and it went tremendously quicker than anyone would have thought that actually morning. So she came less than, I think, 12 or 14 hours after they induced me, so it was quite a surprise to everybody, I think.
Congratulations. All right, that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for joining us. As always, we'll leave you with the last look of the Fraser River Cut Banks. Have yourselves a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.